Give me a kiss right now. Give me a kiss, please. Give me one. Thank you. Oh, and I get one from you too. Oh, my princess and my good boy. People are gonna think I'm so weird. I would like to start off this video by saying that if you have never made a BCAA slushie in your life, you're missing out on a lot of brain freezes. That's so good. Ugh. My nose is running. Put your tongue back in your mouth. Okay. Hi.
Yes, I think I'm falling in love. I think I'm falling in love.
What's up, guys? Welcome to today's video. Today I am very excited because I am coming at you with a ton of information, kind of touching on some things that I have previously talked about in my everything you need to know about a weightlifting meet video. I'll pop the link at the top right there so you guys can click on that video if you would like to see a more in-depth video talking about kind of the entire week leading up to the meet. The only couple of things that I did not talk about in that video was singlets, snacks, and scales. So the title of today's video and what we're primarily going to be talking about is the approved singlets for weightlifting meets, my thoughts on the FLEO one, some other ones I've worn, how to pick the one that's right for you, and then of course some snacks. A lot of people ask me what they should eat prior to a weightlifting meet, and while a lot of that is personal preference, obviously due to things like nerves or if you're making weight, in my scenario we'll talk a bit about that. And then the final thing, tagging on to weight, is the scale. You have to know whether or not the venue that you're competing at has a scale where they open it early so that you can go in and weigh yourself if you need to, so that you know pretty much where you're at and what kind of things you need to do to tweak that if you need to make weight for a meet. So I've worn a couple of different singlets over the years, and there are some pretty basic ones that you can get on Amazon. I think it's like an Asics women's singlet. Keep in mind, and I will put a picture of what I wore the first weightlifting meet I ever did. The legs on those singlets, the bottom part, they have a almost rubbery type of like trim to them on the leg part. So it can be a bit uncomfortable for those of you that may have bigger quads. It wasn't very stretchy, and I remember that I actually folded mine, so it looked ridiculous, but you know, for like a $20 singlet, you kind of get what you pay for. But if your budget is on the lower side, the Asics is the one that I first used, and it was fine. It was just a basic like navy blue or black color. Just has to make sure that it does not go past your knees and it does not go past your elbows. I'm gonna actually go ahead and read off the little like bullet points from the teamusa.org website regarding the new singlet rules that were updated in December of this past year. USA weightlifting competitions must have the entire abdominal area between the chest and pelvis covered, must be worn as it is designed with the left side strap and the right side strap over each respective shoulder, no halters, and it must fall within the IWF guidelines for athlete outfits. And then there is like a little useful link thing that you can click on if you need to read more about this. If you're unsure whether or not your singlet meets the requirements, you can just go to teamusa.org and search for Singlet Rules and then read all like the detailed technical rules and everything. Some people wear a t-shirt underneath their singlet, you know, to protect their chest against the barbell, and that's fine. The only thing is that it, again, just can't go past your elbows. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and do a little B-roll of just what this FLEO singlet looks like. By far, out of the three that I've worn, the four, I've worn an Asics, a Nike, a Virus, and now this one. This is definitely my favorite, and I feel like it's just a little bit more feminine and it's fun. Like, I prefer the shorter legged singlets, and then this one has such a cute back. I am wearing a Lululemon Free to Be Wild bra underneath this. If I had just a regular single strapped bra, I probably would wear that, but I don't have one of those, so I'm just gonna wear this black one underneath for my meet. But it fits really, really well. It's spandex. And for those of you that are wondering, I'm wearing a size extra small. I am 5'2". I compete in the 53 kilo class, which means I am 116.8 pounds. Moving on to the second category of snacks, I just kind of want to talk with you guys about my personal experience with things, doing weightlifting meets, and just some things that I've learned and things that I'm going to do differently in the future. My last meet that I did was the American Open Series video, which I'll also link for you guys here. It's such an awesome video. I had so much fun at that meet. But what I did do was bring 4 vegan donuts down there. thinking I was gonna share them with everybody. Nobody wanted them, and so I ended up, after weigh-ins, I ate all 4 of them. Like, I just kept going back and like picking up pieces of the donut after I weighed in and I was in the warm-up area warming up. And again, like I said, we're gonna get into like making weight and how close you are to your weight class and things like that. But what I've noticed is after I do that, and you know, I'm not eating anything before weigh-in, obviously, because I weigh in super early usually. That's just typically how weightlifting meets are structured. The lighter weight classes will go super early in the morning, and then the rest of the day goes on down the weight classes. Once I weighed in and I started just eating so much and drinking so much, I actually felt really crappy. And I don't know if it was just the combination of like eating, you know, like a bunch of sweets, a lot of sugar, a lot of carbs, a lot of coffee, like just so much shocked my body at once, because typically I like to make sure that I stop eating 12 hours before my weigh-in. All of that like caffeine and sugar and everything I made me just feel so sick. So this time around I'm doing things a little bit different. After I weigh in at 6 a.m., I'm gonna immediately have my breakfast, which I made a egg salad on a Thomas Nooks and Crannies bagel thing that they just came out with. So I put it in a Tupperware along with 2 slices of turkey bacon, just because I feel like I want to keep my first meal of the day as similar to like what I normally do pre-training anyway. You know, like I don't go into the gym after I've eaten 4 donuts and try to lift it right like within the hour. What I recommend if you are a beginner is definitely that. To make sure that you stick to foods that you know that don't upset your stomach, that are easy for you to digest, and you want to keep that same principle of proteins and carbs mostly before you lift, and little to no fat. So the only other types of fats that I'm going to eat before the meet is going to be those little banana, peanut butter covered banana things, and that's just because I'm gonna have a little bit of extra carbs there with the banana, but I just didn't want to have no fat whatsoever because I made the egg salad with egg white. And I don't know, I just want to keep things like on my regular schedule because I feel like it will make me feel better overall. If you are a little bit more advanced and you have some weight to cut and you had to do like a diuretic the night before or a sauna, whatever you had to do, and you're pretty dehydrated, the most important part for you is going to be making sure you get in the electrolytes, the sodium, the hydration like immediately after weigh-ins. I typically recommend doing something like a Pedialyte mixed with like BCAAs and a little bit of like Gatorade powder or something, and that's just going to help replenish you because you're going to be dehydrated, and lifting heavy while dehydrated is seriously the worst. I've had it happen like twice, and my calves will cramp up. It's so brutal. So just make sure that you take those extra steps and bring like extra water with you, but sip on it slowly. Again, same thing with like the donuts. You don't want to be like chugging everything as soon as you weigh in. Make sure that you're drinking your drink slowly, starting to warm up, and just kind of like making sure you're replenishing everything that you've lost from being dehydrated. So tagging onto that, let's go ahead and move into making weight for meets. Again, if you're a beginner, this is not something that I recommend. If you naturally sit in like a weight class, for example, let's say that you're 112, 113 pounds, you're right smack dab in the middle of the 53 kilo class. So lift there. There's absolutely no reason for you to be cutting weight as a beginner lifter when you're just trying to get some meets underneath your belt. And it just puts a lot of unnecessary stress, especially if you're not trying to like qualify for the American Open or for something, different than just a local meet, However, for people who are more advanced and who do need to cut weight in order to be more competitive in their class, which as a side note, a lot of people ask me why I don't just go up a weight class, and I still feel that I'm too small to be competitive as a 58, but also just I'm not big enough. At the end of the day, mass moves mass, and if I were to go up, I would have to gain probably like 10 to 12 pounds, which is a lot of weight when done naturally, and it will take a really long time. So eventually I will probably like do a couple of local meets as a 58 the next time I bulk, but for now I just feel like it's not necessary for me to put on or be so concerned with putting on a ton of weight when I'm not going to even be competitive or just big enough to compete with those bigger girls anyway. If you do have to cut a couple pounds, I typically recommend doing like a 5-day water cut if you can handle a little bit of dehydration towards the end. And this just is for The sole purpose of not having to cut your calories too low. If you're sitting about like, and again, this varies person to person because somebody a lot smaller is gonna have a lot harder of a time dropping water than somebody who weighs, you know, 160 pounds. 5 days out from your meet, I typically recommend doing like, let's say that the meet is on Saturday, which mine is. On Monday, I would do 2 gallons of water. Tuesday, 2 gallons of water. Wednesday, 1 gallon of water. Thursday, about half or a little bit less than half. And then Friday, maybe a liter or, you know, just probably as minimal as possible. And your body will still flush that water all of Friday. And by Saturday, you should be fine. And that's probably like, for somebody my size, I can cut about 3, maybe 4 pounds doing that kind of water cut if I add in some sodium manipulation. Again, taking it a little bit more to the like advanced route. If you know what you're doing with sodium manipulation, you can probably lose like 5 to 6 pounds if you need. And I don't like water cutting, which is actually why I chose this time to do a slower cut. So I just needed to lose about 4.5 pounds in order for me to be right. Hi. Instead of doing a water cut and being super dehydrated and tired and feeling like crap, I actually decided to just cut about half a pound per week, just so that I could sit right above the weight class. And then the night before, so Friday night, I'm gonna stop eating around 5 o'clock because my weigh-in is at 6. About 12 hours of your stomach being empty should be fine. I typically lose about 2.5 pounds overnight anyway. So it's always good to know your body and know what you lose naturally overnight. So what I recommend doing before the meet even approaches is at night weigh yourself before you go to bed, and then weigh yourself first thing in the morning, and take that average over like a couple of weeks so you roughly know about how much you have to work with when it comes time for meet day. I think that's pretty much it. The things that I didn't touch on in my previous weightlifting video. So if this was helpful to you in any way, let me know. If you want me to cover anything else as far as weightlifting meets go, of course, just leave it down in the comments section below. And I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it was informative. If it was, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. And I am gonna go take this singlet off and chill for the rest of the night. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in my next one.